When scientists and farmers work together, they can achieve a high production partnership. That's why the Minnesota Soybean Research and Promotion Council has nearly 20 research projects underway with scientists at the University of Minnesota. Let's see how some of these research projects can lead to smarter soybean farming.
My name is Kruger. I'm a soybean farmer from Wilkin County, Minnesota. I've been dealing with an aphid epidemic for almost 10 years now, I'm guessing. It's kind of unfortunate that little bug wasn't even in this country not that many years ago, and all of a sudden it's become quite a problem for us.
In 2011, we had a very regional response to aphid populations. We saw populations start to develop in the west central part of the state very early, and up into the northwest early as well, and that really was where we started to see our heaviest populations were in those regions. Aphids overwinter as eggs on buckthorn, and in the spring those eggs will hatch. You'll start to see a generation or two go through on buckthorn before they disperse into soybeans after the soybeans start to come up.
This is actually the plant the soybean aphid spends the winter on, and you can see a pretty good sized specimen in the background. Male and female aphids move to this plant in the fall. That's where the mating takes place, and the eggs are laid at the base of next year's buds, and that gives them a little bit of protection. Eggs hatch in spring, feed on buckthorn, and then they'll start producing winged adults, which will try to fly off and find soybeans.
There's two forms of soybean aphid. You'll get the winged form. We refer to those as alates. Those are dispersive forms. Their job is to disperse from the primary host, the overwintering host, into the summer host. The other form of aphid are the non-winged ones, and that's what a winged aphid always gives birth to, is a non-winged form. And their job is to feed and have offspring. All the offspring are born live, and they're all female throughout the summer.
Here we've got a winged female aphid that's just landed on this leaf. We don't need to have every plant in the field loaded up with 200 aphids per plant. We just want most of those plants to be colonized. We want 80% or more of those plants to have aphids on it, and we need that aphid average to be up around 250.
When they reach a threshold of 250 aphids per plant, when 80% of the plants have aphids, that's when you pull the trigger. It's important to remember that at that point you're not yet seeing economic yield loss. You're not even seeing any yield loss, but it's important to know that at 250, if you don't take action, soon you will be seeing a yield loss. The way we typically scout fields for aphids is to look at a number of locations in the field, preferably random locations, so you get a good representation of what the whole field population is doing. If you see predators in the field, things like lady beetles, things like lacewings, the chances are there's something there for them to eat. The other thing you could look for is ants, because ants tend to aphids. Aphids feed on sap, and so they excrete basically sugar water, which we refer to as honeydew, on the leaf surfaces. That will look like it's almost wet. Ants like to tend to aphids because they like to feed on the honeydew. And so if you start to see ants on the soybean plants early, chances are they may be tending aphids. It's also the perfect medium for black sooty mold, and so quite frequently if you get very heavy infestations, you'll see the tops of the leaves turn dark.
Not all the little bits on this leaf are aphids. There's some small shriveled white pieces. Those are cast skins. As the aphid grows, it molts, and those are some of the previous shells.
Left untreated, soybean aphid populations can cause a significant yield loss. We've seen losses of 40% or higher, and many people have reported even higher than that. Treating for soybean aphid involves a variety of different techniques. There are pre-treatments for it, like seed treatments. However, the foliar response treatments are very, very good. As for pre-treatments, yes, there's a number of seed treatments available. The farther north you go, they may be perhaps less valuable because our populations have a tendency to really grow later in the season, and there might not be as much insecticide left at that point from the treated seed for them to actually control the aphid populations. There's also a number of resistant genes that are becoming available, so we'll see resistant varieties being sold, and those are very interesting. If you've actually done an application, it's getting later in the season, you really shouldn't ignore that field either. Make sure you continue to scout it. Fields can get reinfested, so it's very important to continue to scout those fields and know what those populations are doing. We have thresholds that will prevent yield loss. We have good profiles for the chemistries that they can rely on. We have the development of resistant varieties. We have biological control being developed. We have a lot of the cornerstones and the building blocks of a wonderful integrated pest management program for this aphid. all of these things have been developed through research at the University of Minnesota and other universities that are cooperating with each other. And so the one thing that Minnesota soybean growers have now that they did not have 10 years ago is a very workable, very reliable management program. And it's a very deep toolbox.
As soybean farmers, when you transform discoveries from science into higher yields in the field, you're providing the world with an abundant supply of safe and affordable food. You're advancing America's energy security through renewable biofuels. And you're protecting the environment by sustaining natural resources and building Minnesota's economy through higher productivity and profitability.